Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another anime review. Today we look at episode 7 of Danganronpa 3 Side Despair. So, what a fucked up episode. I'll just start off by saying that, excuse my French. But this episode really was messed up. Let's just get right into it and start talking about what happened. So, we have Junko meeting up with last week the ultimate animator, and she starts bashing anime. She says, I hate anime, it's always like this and that. To the point that he shows her that his anime is so much different. And she freaking cries when she sees his anime. She just loses it. And, he asks, or she asks him more so, how do you do this? Like, how do you make my emotions come out? Because apparently this was not a joke. She was really crying and apparently moved by it to some degree. And he talks about how he uses visual cues and imagery and certain color effects that really make the human mind perceive something. Which, by the way, does work. And I find ironic, and Danganronpa must know about it too, is that they start using fan service for Junko at one point. Like, when he's getting more into the meat and potatoes of his explanation, they keep showing off like different parts of her body and stuff like that. Because honestly, you want your mind to focus on something, and what sells better than sex in many ways and all the other fan service moments in general. Look at that. I mean, I thought it was hilarious. I mean, that just shows that they know what they know what they're doing in many ways, and they also know that this is something anime does do. But to his level, maybe a little extreme. I mean, it goes beyond too. But at the school, they're all celebrating and having a good time and relaxing, which is probably the only nice moment of this episode, realistically, when the imposter goes to the ultimate nurse and goes, "Hey, he's Mitsura, that's his name. He's been missing for a while now." That's the ultimate animator, by the way. And she goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, he's just been gone. He's disappeared like a week ago. Left me a note saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go focus on my anime," and then just left. She goes and tries to find him, but is then kidnapped by Junko and her associates. So that's kind of funny. Now, meanwhile, stuff's happening in the school too as well. We see that they're dealing with the disappearances of all these staff members all of a sudden, and it's really starting to worry people. Like, why are all these people disappearing? Well, that's just the beginning of despair, because Junko then goes to the ultimate high school, I think high school council, excuse me, or student body, whatever they are. I believe it's one of the two. And she goes, "Oh, hey, how you all doing?" And they're like, "Wait, what are you doing here? Who are you?" And Junko was like, "Oh, so yeah, those videos you got in your mail, you got those recently, right?" Apparently similar, if you've played the games, of course, similar to the mails they got and the videos they got showing their family in desperate situations and stuff like that. They were given stuff like that too. And on top of that, she says, "Hey, you know what? You're gonna participate in a killing game. We're gonna kill each other until there's only one left of you." And at first they refuse, like any normal student council, they're gonna be like, "No, we're not gonna do this. This is not us." But as we've seen in Danganronpa and as we know in general of the story, that doesn't mean everyone's on board with that idea. And the killing starts really by accidents and also by just her shooting a gun just to kind of get people scared. Not Junko, but her sister. Shooting the girl in the stomach, and all this stuff happens to the point that everyone starts mass murdering one another. You start seeing various scenes and stuff like that. The one guy left, the one that didn't want to do this, or one of the ones that didn't want to do it, is the only one surviving. But he attacks, Hajime, who now remember is Izuru. He attacks him, and Izuru fights back, hits him with a palm strike into a window, knocking him out and also causing him to fall towards his own chainsaw, which he had, killing him too. I mean, this whole sequence of events was very visceral. It was probably the most visceral of Danganronpa. I mean, I'd show you plenty of scenes, but I really can't. A lot of them were censored, and not even just that, but a lot of them were really gruesome, so I'm not going to do that. But honestly, it was just very visceral. I mean, honestly, it was so messed up. I can say that all the time, but I'm sure that most of you have watched the episode, of course. That's why you're watching the review. But shoo, if you haven't, then I don't know what you're waiting for. Like, go watch it now. It's so messed up. But as we know, Hope's Peak Academy is all about keeping face, and so right away they tell the principal that they want to put everything under the rug. They're going to figure out a way to keep this quiet. This won't happen, And they're saying this about several things, which I'll explain it toward the end because the credits explain it better. But they're trying to keep everything that happened in kind of perspective. They want to keep it under the rug, because if this happens out, if this shows up in media and stuff like that, Hope's Peak Academy is gone. So they realized it right away. But interestingly enough, we see the beginning of the most messed up situation that the world has faced. You know, the longer name it has, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, try to remember because I always forget it. But we see Junko have a plan in action because she realizes that they're gonna try to hide things. So what she does is she starts sending emails and videos out to all the student members, especially the reserve course student members, telling them, hey, you know, interesting that all your money was used in a very odd fashion. You know, your money was just put into something that was out of your control, and you know, you were forced to pay all this tuition not because, you know, you had any chance of really getting a higher education, but more so because they needed you for money and they needed you for this project that they're using, which really irritates a lot of the students. You see that the reserve corps students start flipping out on their phones and start going crazy in general. And then Izuru is also put as the main culprit of the killing, the mass murder that took place, which, you know, the killing game. But of course, as we know, he wasn't him. You know, it was not him at all. Meanwhile, the school is dealing with just the onslaught of people. Like, all of a sudden, the reserve corps students are outside the door, you know, yelling and screaming, and just mob mentality. It's really bad. And you see class 2, you see them, you know, kind of just going, what's going? Or not class 2. It's is it class 38, I believe. But it's all, you know, all this, the higher ultimate students, they're all together just looking down at every one of these students, flipping out and stuff like that. And you see this, you know, the first thing she's thinking about is Hinata. I mean, that's kind of interesting, but it's just overall messed up. I mean, this episode was everything I wanted it to be. It was very visceral, but it was very action-packed. It had a lot of story elements. This is the beginning, I think, of the end. I mean, we are getting close to the end. We have, I think, what, 5 more episodes left, I believe, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 5 or 6 episodes left. And what's interesting about that is really where they're going to go from here. Are we going to really see more and more of this despair coming into play? I mean, I'm curious. I want to see it because, you know, this, like I said before, the games don't really explore too much of this right here. They explore the stuff during the events of the despair incident, and more so a little bit after, of course, like they were built, like in the future arc. But they haven't focused on this right here, and we're getting to see that live in front and center, which is very, very awesome. Anyways, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. You know the whole nine. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great, great day. Bye-bye.